am a true born Belizean. Tell them that we born there. Belize my home, my native land. Tell them that we born there. I want you people to understand. Tell them that we born there. I am proud to be a Belizean. Tell them that we born there. You're born there, you're born there. Tell them that we born there. You're born there, you're born there. I am a true born Belizean.
Live. Greetings and welcome to another episode of Navel String Connections. I've been out for a little while. I'm BILAL Morris, live from my studio here in Los Angeles. And the format that we have been experimenting with is ARIA does a show every other week, and myself, we do the show, we alternate. And he was running their Christmas shows, and so we want to apologize to our viewers who look forward to view Navel String Connections across New York, Chicago, right here in Los Angeles, the home of the largest Belizean community. We have some avid viewers here, Belizeans who depend on this show for what's happening to get the pulse. And today we have someone. Our guest today is no other than AUDREY MATURA, the pulse of Belize. We want to welcome our sister. I remember a couple of years ago I interviewed this incredible, outstanding Belizean, brilliant mind, Belizean attorney. And AUDREY MATURA was also a broadcast journalist in her time. She's no stranger to these airwaves. And I remember some years ago I interviewed her on Belizean Legends. And we covered it was like a 3-part series. It was really in depth. And we want to welcome our sister, AUDREY MATURA, to her first appearance on Navel String Connection. Welcome, AUDREY.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for having me on your show. It's the first time I'm appearing on Navel String. And only for you, Bilal, I get out of my little semi-retirement to discuss the issues of importance to Belize. So
Highly appreciated, my sister.
thank you for having me. Yes. So what are all the issues you want me to cover tonight?
Well, where do we start, right? Well, we want to start off the most critical issue right now inside the country of Belize is the whole BTL merger monopoly. AUDREY, some years ago, we talked about the whole aspect of these two political parties and their governments and how they come to power.
Yes.
We have this main power structure that is driving them, the Ashcroft Waterloo that has been
Yes.
financing.
Yes.
We're not going to be afraid to say it. Campaign financing reform is needed in Belize, but this multinational has been financing a lot of these two political parties and is the driving force.
Thank you for
We're not going to be afraid to say the phrase that who pays the
it
piper
is.
calls
And
the
so
tune. Yeah. Go ahead.
is one I know very well.
Very much, right? And so we want to
Yes.
start
Well,
off with the first.
I think yes.
Yeah, we want to start off with the first question in asking you to give us some kind of background, because a lot of our viewers, especially those Belizeans in the diaspora, a lot of these Belizeans were investors in BTL when it was privatized, and some of them may be still enjoying dividends, but a lot of them got lost in terms of what is really going on with Belize,
Well,
living out in the United States. Give us some kind of background to this crisis.
okay, so a quick little 2008 and 2009, and we were back and forth in court, and then finally there was arbitration, which we never defended abroad, and Mr. Ashcroft could have then come and enforce his order here. And I think it's important for people to understand there is no way we would have gotten away with taking away his private property, albeit that the way he came about it was due to, in my view, a lot of political maneuvering and corruption from our leaders. He's a businessman and he will exploit everything he could. After that, BTL, since this new government came in, agreed to pay off what was owed to him for all these litigation. But before one, Mr. Barrow went behind our back and signed an agreement with him. I never forgot that. It was September, and I think it was 2017, but don't quote me on the year. And then he brought it to the National Assembly and it made it law. And in that law, he said, well, we have to pay him in US dollars. And when it was time to pay and we couldn't pay, Mr. Ashcroft sued us again. And of course, we lost. So this government comes in, which is friendlier to him, and settled it. Now where we are is that there was in between when Mr. Ashcroft was fighting, the Briseño family formed a new telephone company, SpeedNet or Smart. And when they formed that new telephone company, over 75% was owned by Mr. Ashcroft, but behind one of his companies, he is a shadow director. He created the Waterloo Trust, charitable trust. But this is one thing this man knows to do as a businessman. He takes the rules of company law and he creates one company after the other, and he finds how to use charitable trusts and non-profit organizations, whatever, to his benefit. But who's benefiting from this actual trust? We don't know. It's just Waterloo Charitable Trust. But the thing is, at the end of the day, even as a shadow director, he has an interest in Smart/SpeedNet. It's registered as SpeedNet, but we call it Smart. So that's a competition with BTL. Now, where we are today is that BTL, over the years, when it became politicized, became very much mismanaged. That's a reality. When the present chairman said that BTL is a private company and that it is, it doesn't have to respond towards the people because it's private, that's a lie. The fact that the government owns shares in it makes it public already, because it's the taxpayers' money, and the fact that our social security money is in BTL along with all those small shareholders. And if those small shareholders want to be honest, they have no say in it. So now here comes along this whole new idea that BTL will now buy out Smart, along with all these cable companies, which eventually withdrew. But I'll go through the process. What I want people to think about is that the idea of having Smart and BTL was for there to be competition. And it was Mr. Ashcroft's ways of keeping his interest in the telecommunication business. Why would you sell that? Why would Smart want to sell out now when they have a good percentage of the market? They have almost close to 50% of the market. If I'm not mistaken, they have 43%. Yes, BTL has a little bit more. And they're fiercely competitive alike. And so the question Belizeans should be asking, why would they sell? I have my answer why they're selling. The technology is going obsolete. The truth is, very soon, my cell phone that I have right now, these iPhones and Android phones won't be anything to us. Because if you know the way to the future, it is that Elon Musk, through Starlink, is already creating a phone that once you buy it, it comes built in with internet linked up to Starlink, and anywhere in the world you go, you will
That's
use
not
it.
a long way before that comes, Elon Musk.
I don't know how long, but you will wait till the day before that to divest. So, of course, SpeedNet wants to divest. And if for Belizeans who don't know, Starlink already has permission to be transmitting through Belize because they're testing out everything. I don't know when it will happen, but the truth is the big guys take up everything, because it's not as though Elon Musk has proven himself to be such a great person that we can believe will be able to has any morals or ethics. He's all about business too. And if we follow the US news, we've seen what he has done and what he's capable of, and the conflict of interest that he has had, and he just tries to pretend they didn't exist. So here we are in a reality where Smart does not want to lose. So Smart, owned by the family of the Prime Minister, which that in itself is a conflict of interest, and owned by Waterloo Charitable Trust, which nobody can say that Mr. Ashcroft is not behind it. He is behind it, even as a shadow director. And if we peel the layers and the layers and the layers, and of course he's in Turks and Caicos and Cayman and all those places, he has investment. If we peel all the layers, he's behind it. And if we had no doubt that he's behind it, the fact that then he issued a statement. No, you have nothing to do with this, you claim, but you issue a statement saying it's a good deal. Like, really? and you issue a statement trying to encourage the cable companies to withdraw from the package deal so that the SpeedNet/Smart deal could go through. Well, if that's the case, then why doesn't Smart buy out BTL then? Why is it that BTL is buying out Smart? Several things there. One, there'll be no competition, and the idea of a competition was good. Two, BTL will be saddled now with all the soon-to-be obsolete technology and machinery. Three, there's an outright conflict of interest from the part of the Prime Minister and his family. Four, Mr. Ashcroft again proves himself to be the person who financially dominates, controls, affects the finances and economy of Belize. That is the reality. So my thing is, if I was an investor in BTL, I would cash out my shares. Definitely. Because when the big guys move, it's because they give you an insight as to what's happening. Unfortunately, in Belize, we don't have insider trading legislation, and we have no way of actually bringing about an action for conflict of interest as a statute in the financial sector. We'd have to find a creative way to try and stop that. So that is the reality of what we're facing.
Going down behind, behind closed doors, and we are not privy to the information of what is happening. We appreciate people like you who understand how the game is being played, and you are not no Johnny come lately in this. You have given a very excellent background of how it all started with BTL, the whole monopolization, the elimination of competition. And so, for those Belizeans in the diaspora, this is very good information for you who have been investors in BTL, because I think our MATURA speaks from a position of strength here, in that you are in the belly of the beast there.
Yes.
This is going on, and Ashcroft ain't playing. He is not playing. I mean, this man has...
So think about what's happening here. Think about it. Imagine, I have this phone. I know this phone will become obsolete soon. I know that because I have information you don't know, or the public doesn't know. I sell you this phone. I sell you it for $1,000, but in 5 years it will worth $0. So best I cash in now. But now I sell it to you, but you represent a group of people whose money you took and bought that phone with, knowing that in 5 years it will mean nothing. It will mean nothing. I don't know how we intend to compete when we could make one company manage everything. So then if that is the case, then why did you even go and compete? There's not such duplicity as he said, because BTL doesn't have towers in some areas that Smart has towers, especially in southern Belize, in some more rural areas. For some reason, you can get better connection with Smart than BTL. And then if he said, then let BTL manage all the hardware, all the towers and all the network and so. Yes, they may be managing it for now, but for how long? One, will those machines or towers be still appreciating? They're depreciating. That's one. Two, how soon they will have to replace them or repair them. Three, will it be worth replacing and repairing, knowing that a new technology is coming? Wake up, people, go read about it, go read what Starlink is doing. We don't know when they will release it, but it will happen. It will happen. And a small country like Belize, now think about it. We don't make phones, we don't make towers, we actually are in the world system. So we're just like a grain of sand in the scheme of things. So, but in that grain of sand, there are people whose whole life investment is there. And the truth is, I do not believe over the years that BTL has been very accountable to its shareholders, especially small shareholders. There were times when they never got any dividend. So this should sound the alarm for people who have investment to divest. And more importantly, our social security money was placed in BTL.
Yes.
Now imagine when that BTL is no longer as lucrative, operative. Maybe all they'll be able to is to provide internet service, maybe. But the actual phone service, they won't. Right now, when I travel globally, I take my phone and I buy an eSIM. And anywhere in the world I go, I have communication. BTL's roaming doesn't work good. It hasn't worked for good for me, at least. That's my personal experience. But their charges are high. But when I buy an eSIM, I could go anywhere. Starlink is saying, look, I will sell you a phone. And on this phone, you will have automatic global access to the internet. So wherever you go, you have communication. And they're going a step further. You don't have to pay much for that service. So obviously the phone will be more expensive, and they will do it in such a way that we have to maybe renew every year or 2 years. But the thing is, that is the way to go. So BTL doesn't have much leg room to divest. So now let's add it to what was happening. The cable companies wanted to join as well. They said, buy me out to buy me out, because right now, cable is going obsolete as well. I have friends and family who have cut out their cable and they go on YouTube, and that is how they see the international news and many other news, and on Facebook. I watch the local news on Facebook. Imagine, I don't need cable. All I need is data. When Starlink gives you that data, wherever you go for whatever fee you're paying, all BTL could do is be a third person, maybe, of Starlink, or seek to diversify. And I don't know how they would diversify. Maybe just providing internet service for those people who don't require a phone to travel the world. But my point is, believe it or not, in the next 3 to 5 years, that's my prediction, 3 to 5 years, they will be in deep shit. And I don't want to put it any less than that, because that's what it's going to be. So our social security money is at risk. And so is the money of the investors. Now, who you think have that inside information? How suddenly these cable companies pick up and, hey, I want sell? How suddenly Smart, that was head-on competing with BTL just the other day, September celebration at the expo, wants to divest? How suddenly? Nobody divests from a profitable business. Nobody divests from a business that has a future. On the contrary, as a matter of fact, as an example, Centuar, now Next Gen. So here he is, coincidentally, his brother, imagine, is the chairman of BTL. That is what is happening. That this is what we're facing now. And then the Centuar, which is another cable company that wanted to sell out, who's the owner? The Prime Minister's family or the Prime Minister. But he says he removed himself, but that is only in paper. So then if BTL is buying out cable companies, why don't they buy out the entire country's cable companies? Because only the ones who have the inside information are going to country's cable companies. Because only the ones who have the inside information are going to benefit their cable companies in Southern Belize.
That's right.
And stood side by side with us, the activists and in the unions. I actually have pictures with him. I should have given you those so that you see him in his outfit, standing with BNTU and all of that, to then turn around and betray us like that. To me, it's a personal betrayal. And I have no qualms making it known that it's personal, because before you used to call and seek advice, and I hear me using my legal advice, helping him with papers that he has to present, fighting bills that the UDP put in, and now the PUP comes in, and he's a kiss ass. Everything, he is the medium through which they're getting these things done. So that it's at the personal level for me. At the other personal level is that the Prime Minister, we expected a person who has far more integrity. But he surrounds himself with people that have conflict of interest too, and people who it's all about them getting. We only get leaders who is me, what I could get, how much I could get, how much richer can I be? Yes, there are few people in both parties that genuinely go in and want to serve. I would never say no. But they're not the ones calling the shot. They're not the ones representing the poorer people. They're the ones who are there forever. And you notice we have this trend, right? That when we had Prime Minister, the first Prime Minister, he was in politics for, it was his career. The second Prime Minister, Mr. Esquivel, was the only one who had the shortest political career. Then we had Said Musa, that is his whole life. Then we had Dean Barrow, their whole life. These are people who feel they have a monopoly on leadership, but they don't have leadership. It's not leadership. Leadership is different. What they hold is a position of power, which they abuse, in my estimate. So, yes, it's personal. And yes, I feel betrayed. But more importantly, it damages our country. It damages our economy. It robs our people from resources that could have gone to benefit them, benefit the people. So BTL have all this money to pay out 180 million, and that was the initial amount. Could you imagine what could have done with that? Which brings me to the other thing. We just paid 300 million for a dam that is obsolete. So there's a pattern. I remember when I was a news reporter and the PUP came in power. That was before 2000. Everything they privatized. I remember just coming out and starting to be a journalist in the early 1990s. They privatized the water, they privatized electricity, they privatized telephone. And you know what was the selling point every time they privatized? And they told us, one, efficiency, two, job creation, and three, the most important thing, prices will go down. Prices have not gone down. We've been hoodwinked time and we have this passive set of Belizeans. Like the other day they tried to do with the oil companies. It's like, oh, it will bring you job. Like the other day they tried to do with the oil companies. It's like, oh, it will bring you job. You're trying to stop progress. It will make electricity go down. Are we seeing cheaper phone bills? No. Is internet cheaper? No. I remember they even said that when BTL was privatized, that all schools will get internet free of charge. That was a selling point. That all public institutions of charge. That was a selling point. That all public institutions of education would have gotten free internet. That they would have given them computer. That is not even a reality. So like, how much longer will we be hoodwinked? How much longer? That's the reality we are facing. And the corruption is massive. So I've said a lot. I don't know if you want to ask me anything.
Yeah, I wanted to sort of, there are those who, both at home and abroad, who buy into the monopoly thing. I've spoken to some people after your very powerful piece, right? Revealing the crux of the matter in this whole deal, and just doing my own little journalistic thing and getting a vibes from the diaspora is that some people, and this comes mainly from engineers. Monopoly is good for Belize because Belize doesn't even have the kind of energy to back up any other competition and things like that. They feel that they embrace the Ashcroft Waterloo thing, and they try to give an impression that Belize is not the United States that has a lot of options. So Belize competition is really going to hurt Belize in the case of the telecommunication situation because I think these people are looking at profit gain, looking at money making, and I think there's a lot of Belizeans at home who are looking at the money part. How we going to benefit this? Let Ashcroft come in and let him, let him be like a Trump, let him just bust open things. Yeah, the monopoly, let him, and as long as we can make money. Speak to that if you may.
That's utter nonsense. But engineers, I think, linear, so I don't expect them to be more open-minded. They are calculations. Most of them don't have a heart. And I say that having been married to one before. Absolutely useless, if I may put it that way. Kidding. Anyway, let's get to the point. Why is that nonsense? It's nonsense because one, there has been competition. They have been both making money. None of them are going broke. Yes, both of them have used their businesses as a means for political gain. Like, for example, when the UDP was in power and the PUP out of power, Smart hired a lot of cronies. As a matter of fact, the Minister of Tourism was their guy at Smart. He left that job now. So Smart used their money to cushion them. And that's Ashcroft behind the scene. And I want to address Ashcroft in a while. Narda Garcia, who has the air of the Prime Minister, she was big at Smart as well. Those are the two well known to me. I'm sure there are others. I'm only using them as an example. And even the Prime Minister's brother, who was a main player at Smart, he's an advisor to the Prime Minister or sits on several boards to the Prime Minister. I mean, for family, being family, well, kind of expected. But from a strict business point, well, then here you have somebody that was in that private company now, interestingly, on your boards and has your ears. So there was competition. BTL, likewise, the government then fleeced it for all they want. Political and people were being sent to get jobs at BTL even when they didn't have the qualification. Sister B with one call, Dean Barrow with one call, Minister this with one call. That's the reality of what was happening there. The union was weakened totally. There was a trust. Also, again, the usual trick from Mr. Ashcroft and his people. There was a employee trust there at BTL. Up to today, the employees have not benefited from that trust. When the settlement came, he was paid off for that. We don't know. I don't on BTL, which is partly owned by the people of Belize through Social Security Board, through the government's 10%, and through Belizeans, small Belizeans who own it. We're going to take the brunt of it. You think Mr. Ashcroft would have removed himself from that business if it was profitable, if he saw the future that he would have more? No, look at the difference. He's divesting from Smart. He got paid off for his interest in BTL, but didn't he just buy a new bank? He bought out Scotia Bank. And remember what happened here. He bought out Scotia Bank and it's Belize Bank now. I don't know how many Belizeans remember Mr. Ashcroft's Belize Bank doesn't pay taxes because under a special ISBC an agreement that he had, he got this special privilege. So before, when Belize Bank only owned about 20-something% of the market share, that's mean 20%, 20-something%, 20 to 30% of the market share was not being taxed. So that's revenue we lost.
Indeed.
Imagine, it's one of the biggest banks and we lost revenue.
Robbery.
When he joined Scotia Bank to that portfolio, that bank now has at least 40 to 50% market share. I am told it's 43, but I cannot confirm. I would need to get that confirmed from Central Bank. But I'm told it's definitely closer to 50. It could be 43 to 50% market share. That's mean now 43% is not paying taxes. Because anything that Belize Bank owns as a bank doesn't pay the taxes. So when Prime Minister Manuel Esquivel tried to change the law and corner him, I don't know how many people are old enough that Ashcroft then said he would withdraw all his investment in Belize and the economy would have collapsed because at the time he was the biggest employer. He owned BTL, he owned the bank, and he owned other properties and investment. He owned the hotel, and he had some foundation. He would have crippled the economy. So what did Manuel Esquivel have to do? He had to grandfather clause Mr. Ashcroft into it. So people don't want to remember things. So those engineers who are saying that, that's stupidity. That's why I tell you, they only see figures and drawings and connections from one little knob to another, but they're not looking at the human part. They're not looking at the economic part. They're not looking at the social impact it has and the employment impact it will have. It's the reality. And I don't want to seem to be a messenger of doom. But what I am saying is public knowledge. You could go and see that the technology will be going obsolete and that we, the Belizean people, will be holding the bag again. I predict we will go into recession in the next 5 years. Government will call election earlier just so that they can win it. But there will be massive change. And you have to put that, what I'm saying, in context of the global reality. And in the global reality, we are seeing all the threats and instability in the US and the European Union and their fight and Greenland and all of that. We don't live in isolation. Belizeans always say, when the US catch a cold, we sneeze too. The Belizeans like to say that to show the level of connection and proximity. Our money is pegged on the US dollars. So there is a global change that will be happening. And definitely one of the sector's position or region's position to fight back and be a bit resilient is the European Union. CARICOM is just a bunch of us, and the United States basically believes that he owns us. We don't have a say.
Especially with Trump in power.
You don't see how they've targeted specific countries, blacklisted people from certain countries, all of that. That's impacting also when Belizeans put on Facebook, oh, no, stay out of that, no, Belize. It is stupid to believe that those things will. Even the war in Ukraine affected our fuel prices. So even if we don't want to get involved in it, the gutter politics that's going on and the back and forth attacks, and we laugh at some of the things because they're hilarious. So fine, we don't want to get into the internal politics, but we want to get into how that playing out there affects us here. And it does. And it's not only Belize. I'm not saying it only affects, it affects the entire region. It affects the whole world. If we go to a third world war, half of us will be affected. We will have to pick sides. Second World War, First World War, Second World War, we sent people too. We send people. That's why we have a Memorial Day and a Memorial Park and their names inscribed there. So let us stop being so narrow-sighted and pretending that we live in a little pigeonhole. All these things affect us. And Mr. Ashcroft is seeing beyond. Mr. Ashcroft is calling in his money. And remember, he is part of Europe. The British sterling pound, they will fight. They will fight to establish
in the House of
themselves.
Commons. He's a big time in the House of Commons of the
And
British
I don't
Parliament.
know.
Yeah.
He amasses so much riches, but when he dies, he won't be able to take any of it. His legacy will be the exploitation of Belize. That will be his legacy.
Yeah, which
And
is
that I say that having met him officially twice. And I'm not afraid to say it publicly. And if I meet him a third time, I will tell him,
yeah,
your legacy is the exploitation of Belize. None of your charitable trust has left anything charitable to us. He built a new Ashcroft Center at his hotel complex. I remember when he did the Ashcroft Stadium in Independence. Go see how that looked. So where's all the money from all these charitable things? Why haven't you upgraded to a state of the art?
Yes, indeed.
You haven't, because you've only learned to use the law and by mouth say what sounds right, but by action you don't do it. And no government has held him accountable, which brings me to the other point I want to talk about. For those who think that he's the solution, let's be realistic. To my knowledge, Michael Ashcroft came on the scene in Belize in a political mix during the time of the ending of Mr. George Price's time. How much he got done or how much, I don't know. Mr. Manuel Esquivel then came in power, and Mr. Manuel Esquivel, clearly one of the things he wanted to tackle was the fact that Mr. Ashcroft, through his companies, and I will keep on saying it's him because he is the person behind all those companies. I mean, if you read the reviews and so, he is one of the world's top billionaire, and yeah, you put companies, but I know under company law, if we pull all those veils, you're behind it. Anyway, so Mr. Manuel Esquivel gets in power and he tries to fix things. He couldn't. I told you all, he would have pulled the rug from under us. Then where I saw him become a bigger player was under the Said Musa era, when Ralph Fonseca and Glenn Godfrey were big players in the PUP. That's how he came along. According to Mr. Ashcroft, on the first time I ever met him in person, he was very much upset that he had this idea where he wanted to create a free zone in Belize. And at this free zone, he would have had his own telecommunication network and his own bank. He claims, and in that discussion he had with me present, that Mr. Glenn Godfrey stole his idea. Because remember, Glenn Godfrey then created Vitalco, I think it was, Intelco. And he wanted to create by the Boom Junction, like his own little place and all of that. According to Mr. Ashcroft, that was his idea, that Mr. Godfrey undermined him. And that's how he ended up creating his own Provident Bank and Heritage Bank and whatever. And I remember him saying that as long as he was alive, Glenn Godfrey will never succeed. And I'm telling you that firsthand, what I heard. Present during that meeting was my dearly departed friend, Ms. Senator Ayuso, Ms. Audrey Wallace, who was then Secretary General of the party, and Mr. Doug Singh, who was, I think, chairman of SSB then, but also a key element, financial advisor to Dean Barrow. We were in opposition then. So this would have been either 1999, 2000, but I more think it's 2000. And I could give you my personal history with him, but I'm telling you what I know of him. So then he comes in the picture, And I remember one of the key things he said at that meeting. He said he was upset because when Manuel Esquivel got in power and Dean Barrow was the foreign minister, Manuel Esquivel tried to go after him to write things that he thought financially was not wise for the country, and that is giving up it for eternity, taxes on Mr. Ashcroft Bank. That's when Mr. Ashcroft said that he gave $6 million to the UDP, but 12 to the PUP. So he made, at least my understanding of what he said at that meeting was he bankrolled both parties. I was at that meeting because at the time I was senator for the UDP while in the opposition, and I was the editor of the Guardian newspaper. And I used to write in the Guardian newspaper weekly about Mr. Ashcroft and his corruption and all the things that they were investigating him for. But behind my back, he and Mr. Dean Barrow had some understanding that he would help finance the party again. But there was a condition that we stop writing in the newspaper about him. So I was given instruction by Mr. Barrow that we are not to put anything about Mr. Ashcroft in the newspaper, but stubborn me, I still put in the newspaper. So then he came and saw me personally. And I never forget, that's the first time he told me, he who pays the piper calls the tune. That's what Dean Barrow told me. So when you said that to start it, I remember I'm familiar with it. So when I was bungling it up, it's because it's too traumatic. But I still disobeyed. So the rule then was that when I prepare a newspaper, I had to send the dummy, that's what we call it, to Mr. Dennis Barrow to approve. And after Mr. Dennis Barrow approved it, because now they're censoring me, I could then send it to the newspaper. It used to be print at the Reporter newspaper. Of course, stubborn me sent one dummy to Mr. Dennis to vet, but I still sent what I wanted to put because I'm the editor and I was stubborn. So they had to come and see me in person and put me in my place. So much so that they held a meeting behind my back to remove me from senator. It's not something I craved. So I eventually went to study law. So at the time when that was happening, when I was asked to be at that meeting, I was commanded to be at that meeting. Because finally I had to stop putting things in the newspaper about Mr. Ashcroft. So he wanted to gloat. He wanted to gloat in front of me like, yeah, you had to stop. So he did address me on that. Well, I want you to know, I acted like a bitch at that meeting. They kicked us off that yacht. And I remember telling my colleagues, you all are not effing good enough to walk in front of me, walk behind me. And little after that, they did everything to expel me from the party, but I was on my way out to study law. And that's my personal experience. And I can swear on a Bible about that. That happened. So I know that he finances both parties. Now I know that under the Dean Barrow administration, the last one, when he took away BTL from Mr. Ashcroft's companies, I found that very interesting. I sat on the fence for that because I knew legally you can't just take away someone's property. I knew he would win that case, and the longer they litigated, the bigger the amount would be, and the bigger the legal fees would be. Well, lo and behold, let me tell you, we paid almost $1 billion to that man. And who you think were the law firms that benefited from that legal fee? So me sitting on the fence when some people say, yes, that we national company, I knew better. In my heart, yes, I would have wanted us to have a real national company properly managed. But in my mind, my intellect, my legal training told me that was impossible. It was impossible. And here this man goes off and gets all this money. And before Dean Barrow leaves government, he makes into law that we will pay him. I remember it was September 17th, he went to Miami, met in a hotel. Mr. Ashcroft, whoever the attorneys already had to sign the document, Mr. Barrow signed it, then brought it to Belize, had a press conference. No, didn't even have a press conference, passed it in law, and then after the fact, when we were questioning him, there was a press conference. Could you imagine that? Guaranteeing him by law, but we could go find the statute. They are not lying and I'm not exaggerating that we will pay him.
Indeed.
I remember my second meeting with Mr. Ashcroft. He kept asking me, I have the texts here.
Up in there, Audrey, we want to take a break, and when we come back, we want to deal with that second part. I want to say again, this is Naval Strings Connections. I'm Bilal Morris. We are speaking with the Iron Lady, AUDREY MATURA, laying it down. And this is our revelation. So we have to let her talk because she is coming from the bottom of the river bottom. And when she tell you that so,
That's so.
because you hear it, you got the history of all that was going down. And I want again, I said this is a XTV production. Our producer is Nur Mohammed. Our sponsor is the Ministry of Tourism and Diaspora Relations. We want to keep saying that because we have not been saying that enough. This again, this show, Navel String Connection, is our sponsor is the Ministry of Tourism and Diaspora Relations. And we will continue with AUDREY MATURA when we come back. Stay tuned.
Hey, let's talk about Kaya District, one of the most beautiful and vibrant places in Belize, rivaling Placencia in tourism traffic. Kaya has it all: majestic mountains, lush valleys, rivers, lakes, and incredible wildlife. Hidden in its jungles are ancient Maya temples, rich exotic cultural experiences you will not find anywhere else. But Kaya isn't just about tourism. It's also a hub for farming, cattle ranching, small businesses, and archaeological research. But here's the real gem. Despite growing demand, land is still affordable and accessible. So what are you waiting for? Act now. Do not wait until prices skyrocket. Need help buying land, building, investing, or a business plan? Call ARIA 813-486-8220. Land is the foundation for generational wealth.
Your bande. understand. Tell them that we ballin'. I am proud to be a Belizean. Tell them that we ballin'. Yo bande, yo bande. Tell them that we ballin'. Yo bande, yo bande. I am a true Belizean.
Greetings, we are back, and this is Naval String Connection. We are speaking with AUDREY MATURA, a Belizean attorney, a journalist of the past, but someone who has been revealing, and we need this. We need these gatekeepers like her who comes in, is brave enough, speak their mind, and unravel the information to the public, because many of our viewers and listeners down in Belize itself and across the Belizean diaspora, we are a little bit more privy of what AUDREY MATURA is talking about, those Belizeans who live in the United States and understand how big business operates, right? Especially now with this whole Trump gobbling up and the privatization and the driving the American economy into what we don't know where it is going, and all its tariffs and all of that. We have to understand, as AUDREY MATURA is saying, how the United States and its global Europe and the global economy affect us, and the role these multinational companies play, like Michael Ashcroft and Waterloo and all of them, the role they play in terms of impacting our economy, in controlling your politics, in controlling our politics. We have to understand that, Belizeans, that we don't live in a vacuum, right? There's a global economy operating around us, and if we don't understand how the big boys, when we are playing checkers, the big boys are playing chess, so to speak, and that people like her comes to us once, in a lifetime, or once every now and then, to give us some kind of understanding of what how we have been played, and we have to bring voices like her on, because it is very important that our people come out of the dark and that they see the light. Audrey, I wanted to go to the BL sale and the whole aspect of Fortis Incorporated, and not a global multinational. I mean, I was talking to a teacher friend of mine, and I tell him about Fortis Incorporated. He buys stocks on his phone. As soon as I say Fortis Incorporated, there he goes in his app. He said, I just bought some stocks, right? I mean, these are people who understand these global multinational corporations and how they're gobbling up profit. And
Yeah.
he automatically bought some profit. Say, yeah, you're right. They're like, yeah, this company is really doing well.
Of
Talk
course,
about
off the
that
box of
sale.
Belizean. But remember, before we took the break, I was to give you my second time I met
Yes, you were
Mr.
to go to this
Ashcroft.
before you go to that.
Yeah,
Yes,
so let me
continue.
finish that, and
Continue.
then we go
Go ahead.
to Fortis. So
Yeah.
so the second time was, and I have the texts here, where through Miss Amalia Mai, who was the general manager of Great Belize Television, she kept reaching out, begging, Mr. Ashcroft wants to meet with you just for breakfast. It's nothing, no big deal, whatever. It's innocent. I said, so what's the agenda? No agenda, whatever. So I said, okay, I have no problem meeting with him in a public place. And I told my son to come with me, because I want him to witness firsthand how these people are. And I want him to hear. I want to have a witness as to what's happening. Of course, those who are corrupt like him, twisted and turn it and say, I went to Salutes. He could never buy my conscience, nothing. There was nothing. He gave us nothing and I wanted nothing. But he claimed that he didn't have an agenda. So I said, yes, I have an agenda. At that time, we are in steep litigation. This is before Dean Barrow signed the agreement that we will pay him for the BTL. And my agenda was to ask him, well, is your intention to forever litigate against my country? Are you going to litigate till we are broke? And then he said, well, basically as a businessman, he's just getting rightfully what is his, and that was a business investment. And so, and the truth is, I knew that he had to get it, but I knew the litigation was too much. And I knew the prices was going up and the legal fees were going up. But then he confessed, and then I realized what was his agenda. He did have an agenda. He said to me that his biggest fear was that he would win the case, but he can't collect. He can't collect the money because under our law, which is a common law like in the UK, you can't go and forfeit government assets. So it wasn't as though he could go and take the nice government building and say, well, you not pay me my almost $1 billion yet, so I detect this land. Or you can't do that. So enforcement would have dragged on, and the government could have gone to court and said, well, we could pay you, but we only pay you 10,000 every month. And you imagine how long that would have taken. He would have died and not gotten his money. So when he said that, I got like, oh, so that's what you really want to talk about. And then he said he knows that the government has the power to like stop that, stop him getting his money. And I said, well, I don't see how I could help with that. I mean, you're the one litigating and the government is the government. I find it strange that he and Dean Barrow, who were very good friends and had attorney-client privilege, would be at odds. Like, I really found that strange. Anyway, in that conversation, he slipped in that, oh, he would want to hear what's the union view on that, whatever. And so my thing to him was that, well, the union will always stand its ground for the people. But he wanted to paint the government as evil. But to me, it was evil and evil alike. Anyway, so that's the gist of that meeting. So unlike what he said, he had no agenda. He wanted to, at that time, I was the president of CW and a member of NTUCs. He wanted to feel my pulse as to the union. I mentioned to the union the meeting, and I said what he had said that he would, and they automatically said outright they wouldn't want to meet with him. And I had no problem with that. It's not as I wanted them to meet. I know what I picked up from that. So that was very important. So now, having said that, you have to be able to address the big picture of how important he is to the economy of Belize. He is worth $2.6 billion as of 2022 that we know of. That's the record on social media. Belize's economy is 3.3 billion. He's almost worth as much as our economy. He is a billionaire because he has investments all over the world. But I'm telling you, he gets quite a lot from Belize. I don't care how you all put it. When you think about all that money transaction that goes through him that doesn't get taxed, that $6 million he gave UDP and that $12 million he gave PUP and whatever million he gave recently to either of them is nothing compared to what he gets. All these charitable trusts that own what 75 or 77% of SMART, that means 77% of SMART's money is his for that trust, for Waterloo Charitable Trust. The same way the BTL Trust, like from Belize alone, he got about $1 billion the other day on the BTL settlement. So he owns he's worth 2.6 billion on the world market, that's US. Out of that, our money went there. And we don't know all the other investment. We don't know all else he has. He makes money off the tourism as well. So Belizeans, wake up. Now, can any political party in Belize ever run without his money? My answer is yes. That is one of the reasons the UDP and I went separate ways. Because when I was being forced not to write about Mr. Ashcroft, we had a national executive meeting, and two of the issues that were debated was whether we should likewise, like the PUP were doing, register immigrants and give them their nationality so that they can vote and we win an election. And my vote for that was no, that we should do things the proper way. And the other question was, were we supposed to accept financing from Mr. Ashcroft? And my answer to that as well was no. And we know he financed the UDP's last election in 2008. He was key and fundamental to that. So my position is no. But the reality is, as we see right now, he still plays a major role in what are the economic policies of this government, because it's under him that this government will now want to buy out his failed asset. It is under him that the Prime Minister finally agreed to pay off everything we owe to him. Remember the other day when they came into power in 2020, just the other day, one of the first things they did by early 2021 was to sign off and pay him. So he got his money. And here again, we're bailing him out. Now, I don't know if this is true. It has not been denied by the leader of the opposition, but the leader of the opposition, Ms. Tracy Tagar, per media reports, which she has not denied, went and met with him, maybe on the same yacht that I had gone some umpteen years ago, 20-something years ago.
That was something.
Right. No, we don't know the details of what's happening there. But we know once you meet with him, even if he asks for a meeting, it's finances. And the reality is, all the UDPs who got rich during the last 3 terms of the UDP are not putting their money in the UDP political machinery. That's reality. Tracy Panton doesn't have personal wealth like the current Prime Minister. Remember, one of the reasons the Prime Minister and Francis Fonseca were at war over the PUP, let's not forget just the other day they were at war. One of the things that the Prime Minister, the current Prime Minister, had over Francis Fonseca was personal wealth that Francis Fonseca couldn't match. One of the reasons that our Deputy Prime Minister, Cordell High, cannot challenge them is because he does not have that kind of wealth, and the Belizean people have a thirst for money to vote. So here we have the opposition, their hands tied. We don't know how they're managing to keep the newspaper going. They don't print anymore, it's all electronic. We don't know how they're managing to keep the news station on. We don't know how they're managing to move all around. And people will come to your secretariat and ask you for money, and you can't give it to them. You can't. And the little whatever scrapings the area representatives are getting, which is, I think we have 3 or 4 seats in opposition, that's not enough. So who do you go to? Who is willing to finance? Politics is not like the days where we, the people, work and put our money in the party to build the party. We have gone to an awful appetite where we want money from the devil. Yes, money is a necessary evil. So that is the level of control that man has on this country. He has gotten millions and over $1 billion out of us. And imagine he's been in Belize for over, to my recollection, from the 90s. So that is at least over 35 years. As a young journalist, I remember start writing about him. But I could only speak about when I thought he got a hold in the political arena when I was more involved. So that's how bad it is. That's how bad we are. That is why he's not the solution for Belize. He will come and he will rape and reap and take away. I know he has control. He has a control of a media house, which should have never happened. And the truth is that in technically, in technology, in technicality, it's the best media house because he has the money. It's our same money that's being invested to use to give us information and censor what we can or can't hear. Imagine, I've been saying all of this. Do you think they will ever invite me on the station to talk about this and call him out for what he is?
Absolutely
Never. Do you see any of the rushing? Because I speak the truth about all of them. And that's the reality. We don't have an independent media house. So I withdraw myself. Let them, at the end of the day, I know to survive. And at the end of the day, I have my peace of mind and my faith. But I worry for the average Belizean. Our rate of poverty is increasing, which now brings me to the question you asked me. The Prime Minister, October last year, passed a bill to buy Fortis, and I was reading some information. It's almost 300 million. I think it's 200, but let me pull it up because I want to.
Billion,
yeah. Okay, so my understanding is the bill, the Belize Investment Bill 2025 will allow government to purchase Fortis Inc. electricity sector assets in Belize, only in Belize, because they are a Canadian company, and your friend who bought shares from a good company because they know how to they're just another set of white devils, okay? Yeah. So what they did, they say that they will be paying, the purchase would be for 256 million Belize dollars. Out of that, 110 will be for the dam, and 18 million. So 110 million will be for the dam, and 18 million will be for the shares. That's in US. When you double that, that's 256 million Belize. But listen to this. And I have no reason to lie and make it up. In 1989, I was a young person out of sixth form, and I went to work for the government of Belize at the Government Information Service. At the time, I was an information officer. We used to publish a magazine named Belize Today. In that magazine, I wrote the first story about this proposed dam. I wish I need to go look for it in the archives. And it has a picture of what was to be built, this Chalilo Dam. Nothing was said that they would build all these 3 dams, you know. But I never forgot, it's this engineer, Mr. Suknandan, what was at BEL, and I think now he's in Canada. Fortis took him to Canada. I think that's where he is. But the thing is, he was the person who came with, wow, Belize has the opportunity for hydro dam, blah, blah, blah. And Of course, I began following it and asking questions. Of course, innocently, I asked the right questions, common sense things, but they're selling it like it will be great and everything. Fast forward a couple years after, the dam comes about, but Chalilo Dam could not produce anything much. Then Mr. Panton, who was the hydrologist, he had said that we did not have enough water data to prove that this dam will ever produce to the capacity that they claim it will. Up to today, that dam has not produced to the capacity. Then we had, after Chalilo, we had Vaca and we had Raspaculo. These are the different dams that they built. We are buying that. Those dams are almost 30 years, if not over 30 years. But when the government, it was Val Fonseca who finally signed the deal. When the government finally signed the deal, in that agreement, and this was a selling point, and if people want to be intelligent enough, go find the archives, the interviews are there. He said that after 40 years, we Belize will own the dams and all we have to pay is $1. Now tell me why on effing earth our Prime Minister will buy it at 30 years for the full value. Why will you buy? It's like you come and sell me your old car. With almost $300 million, we could build our own dam. But dams again are going obsolete.
Indeed.
So when they said that we would get this dam, they said the price of electricity will go down. It has never gone down. Just this year, January 1st, we had a new hike in electricity. That's one. Two, the dam has never produced to its capacity. Never. It is seasonal. Only during the rainy season we're still buying electricity from Mexico, and we still use the generators,
Diesel
fossil fuel generators. We were told that not only will the price of electricity go down, but that we will finally become independent. We will be independently able to source electricity only from Belize. That has never happened.
You're able to sell.
Right. And we were told that, yes, while we were giving up our water rights over the river for 40 years, eventually we will get it back. And that is why we would only pay $1. Now, I personally would never invest in those bonds or whatever they're issuing. How could Belizeans be so, I don't know the word to find, so forgetful of what happened before, of the failed promises? How they forget that the price of electricity has never gone down. As a matter of fact, PUC had to approve an increase for this year, and they didn't approve the level of increase that BL wanted. They say they are at 18 million shortfall. How could we then go and buy a dam that is going obsolete? It had I remember I visited when they were building, I visited at the inauguration. I have those interviews I did with Channel 5 and Channel 7.
Yes.
At both stations when I worked there, I went out and I interviewed. One of the things they told us was that the dam had a warranty of a lifespan of 40 years. Why would we buy the next 10 years? Why wouldn't we wait for the full 40 years and buy it for $1? Buy it back for $1. Why would we take our hard-earned money that the Prime Minister, according to what he said in the National Assembly, is going to pay it from the Consolidated Revenue Fund? That's the taxes that we pay. That's the money they generate. We are already almost broke with all the illegal and corrupt land deals and road infrastructure and all kind of thing that they use to steal money from us, the people. You're going to take over close to $300 million Belize to buy that, and then you will turn around to the Belizean people who are kunomono and tell you, hey, buy bonds from this. Why would I, in my good sense, take my hard-earned money and go buy bond for something that only has a 10-year life and is going obsolete? We don't have any plan, absolutely zero plan for us to be power efficient and power independent. We don't. We've never gone fully into wind power, nor into solar power, which we have sun year round.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
Countries that have less sunlight, have
Solar
solar. That almost $300 million could have gone into us investing. But what now? They gave BL a monopoly / Fortis a monopoly on hydro. You can't produce solar electricity unless they give you permission, and then you have to sell your extra to them at the price they give you. That's how bad it is. It's horrible. And what it says right here, I like reading what they have said, what has been reported, and people need to learn to put the dots together. The Prime Minister sold the bill as a monumental gain that is ushering a dramatic transformation in the electricity sector.
That's the
Dramatic
propaganda.
transformation? Yes, dramatic transformation for drop us in the shithole. You have absolutely no plan. When that dam caves in
No
within 10
vision.
years or more or less, what will we do? And it has never performed at the level. And it says, of course, they had, this is a coward opposition. Here, what they did. It says a division of votes was called, and 17 of the government side area representative voted in favor, while 10 were absent, and the 3 opposition area representatives present abstained. You abstained. What the TWF, whatever?
Bought and sold out.
And you want to convince me that we're on the right path? You know why I went silent? Because I'm tired of preaching. I'm not your savior. The same information and knowledge I have, you all have it. Those in opposition and those in government, and nobody stood up for this
Only the
country.
people can save
Nobody
themselves.
stood up for this country. None of those politically appointed / elected people stood up for this country. And then it goes on, it says the government intends to pay the funds representing about 3.7% of our GDP from the Consolidated Revenue Fund. Not even 1% of the GDP goes into the judiciary. I want you to put that into perspective, okay? And will issue treasury bills and notes to finance the acquisition. If needed, the government can borrow more by topping up what's owed in the treasury bills and notes. Borrow. Will they borrow for something we could have owned for $1 in 10 years?
Yes.
Bilal,
When
you
there's no
brought me on
vision, the
this
people
show.
will perish.
You brought me on the show for my pressure to go up.
So that was the
Because-
main reason
because-
we brought you, my sister, so you can tell it like it is. Only you can tell it like that.
But what is it worth telling it? We couldn't stop the sale.
Yeah.
Right now, we don't know if we stop the sale of SpeedNet. Too many powerful people with financial interests are there, and our opposition is emasculated. They
Yes,
don't
again,
have
we
a,
have a weak
not,
opposition.
not
It's
for
not-
want of
yeah.
trying, because their infighting has been monumental.
Then the
But
leader of the
meanwhile,
opposition ends up on a yacht with Ashcroft. So we are too.
and we don't know, Ashcroft doesn't give something for nothing.
Yeah.
And we always give more back to him than what he gives to us. When will we understand that? So what can I do by myself? Go out and picket and protest? Even if we have another election right now, we have an opposition in disarray, and nobody would vote for a third party. There's no credibility there. So we got what the duck got, and I'm tired of being a duck.
Yeah.
So
And
what do
we-
I need to do? What do I need to do as a Belizean? The same way I take an interest in what's happening in my country, everybody should. But you know what's happening? That 300+ million could have gone into social programs. I had told the Prime Minister before, when he says, oh, you don't want the preventative detention that they wanted to pass the other day. So what's the solution? I said the solution is in the Gale report. And I sent him a copy of the recommendations. He said, oh, that's long term. Well, how the hell you think you unsolved the problem? So you are about immediate gratification? Because if you had waited long term, we own that dam in 10 more years' time for $1. Why you want her up own it? It's not falling off? Why? So why you can't have that same immediate gratification and take that money and put it into the welfare of Belizean people? When will we realize that we have broken homes, that we have people who lack so much? And I'm not saying give me handouts. I'm saying put in process the systems that by 10 years, we will have the results. Mr. Gale gave that report, I think, from
Oh, a long time.
20 what?
Yeah.
2010 or 11? You know what?
2010.
Over 25 years. Over 25 years. So it has to be 2001. He gave that report. If they had done then, we would have, what he recommended, we'd have been reaping the benefits today. So
Absolutely.
I cannot look at politics without thinking about the welfare of the people. I cannot look at economics without thinking about the welfare of the people. I cannot think about the reality of what's going on without thinking about the welfare of the masses. And the welfare of the masses was not served under the UDP. It's not served under the PUP. And we keep changing monkey for black dog.
Yes, indeed.
And none of these parties will do political reform. When the PUP was in power, I remember Prime Minister Johnny Briceño saying that, oh, the price of fuel is so high, and what he would do if he was in power and get it done. He has done zero. He has done zero. And
I need to talk about that. Talk about the Petro Caribbean.
on the contrary, fuel prices has increased under him.
Yes, yes.
And then when they say it's for global reasons, when things happen globally that could make it go down, they still don't decrease it. And the truth is, many of them own gas stations.
Hey,
As a matter of fact, that's how I first got to
Glad
know
you
the
said
Prime
it.
Minister. When I worked as a cashier at his gas station, of course he won't remember poor me, because I was just a skinny little poor girl from a little town. And so I was just a cashier, so he didn't even bother to look at me. The only one who I really spoke with was Jaime, his brother, who was mostly the one that went there. So he won't remember me, but I will remember him. And he still owns one of the gas stations. I know, and the one in Orange Walk. And so many, and then under the UDP, key people made sure they own gas stations too. They're like, he said, well, we can't beat them, let's join them. And only the Belizean people are not seeing the benefits. We are not getting better resources for the police, better training, better benefits for the police officers, who are the same police officers with the same level of training, having to now deal with financial crimes that they're not trained to do, forgeries, and all different high-level kind of crimes. We're not putting money there. We're not putting money into sports.
Indeed, not at all.
We're not developing our young people. Schools are not being improved. Every school doesn't have a good computer lab. We're not investing into robotics in every school. We're not looking at how this technology has surpassed us, and we need to find a niche market.
Indeed.
Man, sadly, there's a lot I can say, but what all former prime ministers have said to people like me, you can't say anything unless you put your name on the ballot. And that's bullshit.
That's
bullshit.
Yes, it is.
There
Correct
has to
people
be
for vote.
someone out of here that does the check and balances. You cannot have all of us with our names on the ballot. And you putting on your name on the ballot does not make you a special creature or a smarter creature. As a matter of fact, some of you are so dumb, but yet you know how to go and lie to the people. It's not the smartest people who are in government. That has always been a fact.
Indeed, indeed.
And the other thing you have to keep in mind, that when they are politicking, they promise everything.
Promise the world.
And the people know that they won't get some of the promises, so what they do, they take the money. And now we have a system where if you want a piece of land, you have to get a letter from your area representative. That's BS. And then we also have a system where now our people are so used to being paid for vote. I want to know, when will they rise up and realize that if you hold your leaders accountable, you have to put someone in government who will look after the welfare of the country. Belize has resources, Belize could make money. Belizeans could be self-sufficient. But no, we don't do it, because every other person that goes into office, go and check their bank books to see how they own apartment assets, things they never had before.
Politics is a hustle.
Land. Sometimes I'm doing cases and I want to know how this minister have way land that where the PG and he not from way from Corozal. How he own an island down south when he not from Orange Walk. I want to know, how you even reach that far? And they hold on to these lands and they speculate. Let me stop. Because the corruption.
Thank you for exposing that the rampant corruption, politics as a hustle, why our country believes cannot develop investment in the basic human resource of your country, your young people.
I was looking at a documentary last night where in Australia, in order to ensure that corruption doesn't exist in election, they have a law that mandates that once you're registered, you must go vote. And if you don't vote, you have to pay a fine. They don't have election campaign financing problem because they have laws that restrict what campaigners can do.
Yeah.
On election day, nobody pulling you here or there. And so they have the highest turnout on election day because it's mandatory for you to go and vote. And when you don't go vote, the fine is small, but they will take it out from you. You have to pay it. The one I said, they interviewed these young people, and they said, they asked them if they think it's a good idea that they have to go vote. And if they don't vote, that they pay a penalty. And they said, yes. They said, what's so wrong for make you just spend a few minutes and go and vote? And let me say it's your duty. And their position is, if you don't vote, how can you have a say when things go wrong? Now imagine if our leaders really wanted to stop the people like Michael Ashcroft from deciding who gets campaign financing or not, wouldn't they then just pass a law to stop all this campaign financing or restrict it? And pass a law that mandates we must all go vote. And if we don't vote, we pay a fine. And wouldn't they then pass a law that makes sure that we don't have political media, we have independent media. And no matter which government comes in, there is a subsidy for all media houses equally. One condition, you cannot be politically affiliated. We don't want to do what's progressive. We do everything that's obsolete. We buy obsolete dams, and we are buying obsolete technology that Starlink will take over because they see on our forehead the word kunu munu. That's what they see. Well, I know kunu munu, and I know every time I speak out, they come after me, but I'm ready. I'm ready because what I say, I can back it up. What I say about Mr. Ashcroft, about Mr. Barrow, about Mr. Musa, about Esquivel, about George Price. I am old enough. I met all of them. I used to be George Price's press secretary. I knew his ways, and he forced us to go pick up paper along the sidewalk and so, but that wasn't bad. I grew up learning that, so that wasn't a problem. I can tell you about each one of them because I've been in the privileged position to have met all of them, interviewed them, been around them. I have been there. I can compare. And we have never had a progressive leader that wants this country to be better.
Very much so.
So I've said enough. I hope your show is coming to an end.
Yeah, we're wrapping up, and you know, we wish we could have you for another hour because we want you to reveal and expose some more things. And
maybe I'll come on another time, but not quickly.
Yeah,
Let me try and do some research.
We got to bring you back because the
I was thinking about
information is power. You might think that you are not making
and we don't teach those things in a school.
But your people are hearing, and people take a while, but you have unraveled and you have removed a lot of.
Let me tell you what people should do. What people should do. They can do a lot. Move your money from Belize Bank. Because your money there, you're paying all the fees, but they're not paying taxes. So that bank is not benefiting you. That's one. Two, demand that your government remove our social security money from BTL. Remove our money. That's not a good investment anymore. Remove it. Our money for social security is important. And keep this in mind. They are planning and they have tried to change the age of retirement because the group of people in my age group that will retire soon, they don't have enough money to pay our retirement, and we are living longer, especially us women. So they want to move it. They had moved it from 52 to 55. I think they're putting it to 60 or 65. Don't quote me because I am not keeping track where it is right now, but they want to move it to another 5 years. And the other thing you can do is that you now know that Fortis Dam, we could have owned it after 40 years for $1. Do not go and invest in any bill and bond, whatever. That is not to our benefit. We should find a way to take our prime minister to court for such a bad decision, such a corrupt decision, such an evil decision that will saddle us with a problem. And I would say, I don't know what all happened in the National Assembly, but when we bought or we entered that agreement with Fortis, whatever legislation was passed was not repealed. So he cannot have passed a new legislation without repealing the one that said we would own it for after 40 years for $1. There must be some legal maneuvering, but all the brains of the attorneys are right now in the PUP. The UDP said that they stopped sending Belizeans to study law. but that was not true behind our backs. All the picnic there are the ministers there. Yes, all of them picnic, gone study law and the lawyers and then the big law firms
to serve
making money.
the
And
political.
none of them have joined
Yeah.
the leader of the opposition to help them, except I will say outright the chair lady, Miss Pitts, who is the chair of the party. And it's unfair for her to carry the load alone. And it's unfair for the leader of the opposition to carry the load alone. And it's unfair to her have to go with hand in cap to go and beg for campaign financing. But when the UDP was in power, they refused to change the law. And the PUP is in power now, and they refuse to change the law. And I will tell you what I know from firsthand, that many times when these businesses donate campaign financing, the same key people in the party pocket some for themselves. And I learned that the hard way because I was very naive. I go and beg money. I used to do a show named Interviews on Channel 7. And Channel 7 used to charge me $1,000, $1,500. And every week I have to beg for money. And then one of the businessmen told me, but I don't see why you should beg, Audrey. I don't see why you should beg. And he gave me a list of business people that every month was sending money to the UDP. And Dean Barrow knew about that. But here I was begging. I did that for 2 years. So my heart was in the right place. I don't regret begging, you know. When Rodwell Williams gave me $200 for the week, I felt, wow, good. Not knowing how much that law firm benefited and still benefits.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
I have on blue shoes, not because of the PUB, but I know what I'm talking about. I lived it.
You did. Yes,
I
you did.
lived it. I served.
Yes, indeed.
I've done my
Yes, indeed.
share.
Yeah. And with
And
that,
I hate that I still have to
Matura.
come out and say what's going on.
Yeah.
Because all the activists who are traitors, the only two entities that still fighting and stick to their guns are the Mayan Leaders Association and the
indeed.
alcaldes. And you all think they're ignorant, but they have more wisdom than you. They know why they're fighting for their land. Because if they didn't fight their land, Mr. Ashcroft would have owned all of their by now.
Yes, indeed.
Or any
Absolutely so.
foreigner. The same way Fortis bought our river and put a dam with our own money because we gave them all kind of concessions. Oh, I know you want to go into that right now.
Yeah.
The same
Mayans
way.
run Atlantic Industries, the Malaysian logging giant, run them out of there and won
Right, and
a
the only other
landmark
one-
case in the Supreme Court that you cannot
The
come
only
to
one
no
who has
land
stood up
without permission. Yeah.
is the BNTU, but right now they're not as saucy as before.
Yes.
Since Sister Elena left, they've had their own internal things, but at least I don't know if they're signing anywhere, the government or whatever. But they managed, the UDP managed to crumble the unions, infiltrated the NTUCB. Some of the same traitors are walking around and giving interviews still. I could call them out to their faces. But I'll leave those other traitors unnamed for now. I've called out one enough for tonight.
And in the spirit of
and I-
Julian Cho, in the spirit of Julian Cho, Audrey, we will end this and you come with that spirit of Julian Cho. Because I met him when that whole logging concession was going on and he went and he did it, came back and he changed the game. And with that, we want to say this is Navel String Connections. I am Bilal Morris. We have wrapped up this very, very, very exciting, informative, educational, and revealing show today with Audrey Matura. We want to thank you all for watching and listening across the Belizean diaspora and in Belize. This show is a XTV production. Our producer is Nur Mohammed, the man under control, Harlan. Thank you so much again. And this show is sponsored by the Ministry of Tourism and Diaspora Relations. We want to again thank you for watching. And with our sister Audrey Matura, we don't even want to tell her to come back and give us a party shot because the show is not going to end. But we have to bring her back again. Again, we want to say thank you for watching. Audrey, thank you for coming and accepting the invitation to be on our show today. We want to thank you, my sister. Any last word? Just as a...
Well, only for you, Brother Bilal, and I want to send out greetings and blessings to Belizeans in the diaspora and at home and beg you, put on your thinking caps and grow some balls and stand up for your country.
Absolutely. And again, thank you for watching. And until next week, again, join with our sister, ARIA LIGHTFOOT, for another show. Navel String Connections, we want to say thank you for watching.
I am a true Belizean. Belizean, tell them that we bonded. You're bonded, you're bonded. Tell them that we bonded. You're bonded, you're bonded.
January 22, 2026. Making the headlines tonight, submissions made to remove Minister Musa from Budni's constitutional claim. GOB wins $12 million constitutional claim by pharmacy in tourism village. And police arrest Santa Elena mechanic for double murder of Sarita delivery men. We take our first break and return with the news in detail.
Start earning B-Bucks today. It's really quite easy. All you have to do is make a purchase at any Benny's location or Benny's entity. Remember, B-Bucks is as good as cash. It's free money.
Download the B-Bucks app and sign up to be eligible. It's fast and easy.
B-Bucks, rewarding loyalty.